Hello friends, hello loyal audience. So today I'm going to add a couple of videos, possibly more, to my series or playlist of artificial intelligence, which used to be artificial or which used to be automation and got evolved through different stages and functionalities. But what is the future possibility? Is conscious intelligence? Well, it'll be semi-conscious intelligence, not conscience, but and that conscious doesn't have conscience. Conscious doesn't have conscious. That's what artificial intelligence will ever become. Consciousness is a specialty of the human soul, spirit, that is put into us. What about 4 months when we are in our mother's womb, right? Being created by Allah and so on. That will never happen for artificial intelligence, but it will be conscious enough uh, uh, to be void of any human sentiments or values or stuff or life elements and contents of life as we know it. Give me a second. So, here we go. It's going to be a little bit lengthy, so I'll try to break it down into different videos. And I don't know. I think that's the last I'm gonna. Today's videos are the last I'm going to produce or shoot on this artificial intelligence series. Some of these are incongruent points, meaningly they're independent of each other, and it's not going to be a narrative that is continuous narrative about connected points and so on. Also, some of these points are very generic. You should build on that yourself, like they say. Number one, let me go back and visit the dot-com heist, the dot-com bust. The dot-com heist was a catastrophe on the financial system of at least the United States, possibly the world, right? And excuse me. Right? I can tell you this: the at least in the United States, where I am a citizen of and I live in the United States, it has not recovered. And in 2008, if you remember the financial crisis in 2008, uh, they and I remember Obama, the Epstein brother, when he went into office in 2008, he claimed or he stated that when he began to look at classified material and so on, he didn't say that, but he said, I still remember him, that he didn't know things were that bad. The dot-com the dot-com basically was so destructive that the economies and financial systems and so on have not recovered. And those who committed that radical infestation, who committed the that big heist and uh, theft of humanities, theft of humanities, uh, theft of humanities' wealth and livelihood and income and so on. They have not decided or they have not refrained from continuing the ever intensifying frenzy. So if they realized, say, by 2008, that what happened in the dot-com bust just leading to September 11 has caused so much destruction and upheaval in the economy, in the core and machinations or dynamics of economies and financial systems, that didn't actually deter them and stopped. They did not stop or cease or refrain from continuing the ever intensifying frenzy to continue robbing and stealing and virtualizing and so on and so forth, as to allow for economies and nations to recover, right? Uh, this is like the aquifer is no longer functioning, right? So now what I'm trying to say here is that is not the case, and now that I'm in my video about investment relevant or related to artificial intelligence, this is going to be many folds, will be detrimental, will be harmful to whatever is left of financial systems and so on. Not just by way of investing, but also by AI being able to control financial systems and banks and whatnot, right? Things are not looking good, folks, and I can tell you this aside from the physical harmful, toxic nature of a data center and power consumption and water and whatever that is, right? I viewed watched a video that says that those big data centers produce as much heat as one nuclear bomb every 1 hour. That's not me saying that, that's somebody else saying that. So, I mean, to me, it sounds like this ship, Earth, that's floating in space and so on, somebody decided just now to place, you know, the, destructive charges here and there and basically take it out, right? I don't know what's going to happen for our health and nature and so on, but if this thing continues on, this will influence even the weather, right? And it does seem like there's some weather, abnormal weather phenomena taking place lately, in places where it shouldn't be, floods and droughts and temperatures and so on and so forth, right? So now I'm telling you that dot-com bust was very detrimental, and AI has come actually to really basically obliterate everything that is remaining. These, what I call radical infestation, what they're trying to do is befriend, if they don't implement it first, that's what they're thinking. Somebody will implement it. I don't think so. You're isolating yourself within the AI realm or limitations or borders. Trust me on this. You're making the last fatal mistake that you'll ever make. The last suit you will ever wear. Those rabbis in black, Tommy Lee Jones and so on, and Will Smith. So anyways, now let me ask you this. After the dot-com bust, jobs were scarce and being lost and so on, and to a large degree by, automation as well. So now if you want to go order something, say, from this online company and distributor or retailer, you can do that via an interface, right? A UI, web interface, right? User interface or web interface, right? And that actually replaced quite a few jobs in those big companies, and even on local level. If you go to a store now, there's like self checkout, about 4, 5, or 6, or sometimes 10 POS kiosks, right? That you don't have to go past the cash register manned by a person, real person, right? And so on. So all these jobs are being lost for a long time now, starting with the advent of dot-coms and user interfaces and so on. Hello. All right. So sorry about that. All right. At any rate, so now I noticed after that colleges began to start to suffer, right? Colleges as well as educational universities and so on, and I can clearly notice that even some colleges that I used to walk by and so on were closed, right? Why? Because they no longer have enough number of students to continue operating, and now my question to you, here goes my question to you. Musk rickshaws or mobile said that in so and so years you will not need to work. So if you do not need to work, why do you need a college degree or a university degree? Think about that for a minute. Many of the degrees that you acquire or study for and spend so much time on in of your take a good significant uh, number of years of your life to achieve such degrees and such educational level and so on. Many of those, the majority of those, is to find a job, right? Because it qualifies you to be a doctor, it qualifies you to be a engineer, it qualifies you to be so and so, so and so, so and so. And if the car drives itself and truck drives itself, well, what else are you gonna do, right? So university and or entire education system will suffer, as a matter of fact, out of AI. In due time, it will just close down. Why? Because, like I said, what happened in the dot-com bust and what the dot-com did was problematic, and so will AI. AI will be, if dot-com was a calamity and a catastrophe on education systems, on jobs, on financial systems, on investment levels, and so on and so forth. What would, AI, artificial intelligence, would be about probably 1,000 times worse. Folks, this is detrimental to humanity. And my advice to you is no matter who you are, just, go and, go somewhere, maybe live in the desert or on a mountain somewhere or something like that. But that's a little bit exaggerated. So now, in regards to colleges and universities, dot-com was the beginning of the end. And this is not like jabbering or chattering. Oh, no, there's reality to that. Ask those educators, ask those university faculties of the universities and so on. They will tell you what has happened after that dot-com bust. Dot-com bust was on a financial level, but the dot-com itself began to replace, like I said, started to replace jobs of real humans. So instead of calling in to make your order to this particular company or manufacturer, now an interface, UI interface, and a small, what we call pizza box server with a very simple, probably free operating system, like OpenBSD or FreeBSD or Linux or so on, and they're reliable. They're taken from Unix, right? Can handle like probably 50 users, 50 customers at the same time, if not more. So that obviously, and those guys who are in investment, that rabbinical infestation, they don't care about your job, right? They care about dollars, and like if you have $1 billion or $1 trillion, and there's a dollar somewhere in Zimbabwe or Mozambique, they go destroy the country just to extract that dollar, and they leave it in Shamble and in pain and so on and so forth. Or if it's a resource that is produced by Earth or whatever it is, they install one of those dog governments, right? What they call junta. Junta is a Junta. Junta is a goyim type government, right? This is part of science fiction book I'm putting here. I'm gonna write, and so on. But what I'm trying to say is this is real, folks. I mean, this is real. This is not, and I'm not the one to actually. I'm not the first one to speak about such a future. You can read it in 1984 or 48, or Animal Farms, and 1948 is really returning people into slavery in Animal Farm, because we goyims are animals, right? So this is not far-fetched, folks, but it has expanded so much that it has now the potential of really destroying mankind. So that's point number one. Dot-com bust really did not. We never really recovered from dot-com bust. Neither have we, in fact, neither have we seen any slowdown in the frenzy. So the United States, at least, is what I term as a cow that is really literally skin and bone, and no longer can stand on its own legs and milking blood, right? And the hyena's frenzies is ever intensifying. they will not allow that cow to really recover or heal itself enough for they can go into that bout again, right? That's what it is. And of course, the hyenas don't care because there's always some cow somewhere to attack, right? So that's where we are. So the 2008 collapse, financial collapse, and as I stated, that Epstein's brother Obama, Obama, right, uh, was the result of that. Actually, dot-com bust, and he said, and I quote, that he didn't know things were that bad. I mean, can you imagine that? And when he went in, he started. His major goal was submitting U.S. to China, as well as raising the debt limit. And raising the debt limit does not mean to recover, or operate the country. Much of that raising debt limit was to really forward that into the stock market and the rabbinical infestation and so on, and the Musk mobile and whatnot, rickshaws and stuff like that. So now the entire of the United States, starting, I would say, for a while now, for a long while. I mean, theft used to be systematic, but now the whole entire United States is a subsidy, in fact, of those, the infestation, rabbinical infestation. You heard that here first, right? Okay, right. So that's what the entire United States is now. The So the infestation is for that Netanyahu tribe, which is really here. That's the infestation I mean by who I mean by when I mentioned that infestation. It's that Netanyahu type tribe. The Musk mobile and rickshaws and the Millers and those super billionaires and there are quite few actually in there. It's like a whole network of those uh, uh, creatures from outer space or from below the ocean and stuff like that. Oh no, it's like gargoyle. You know how they emerge from gargoyles. Uh, uh, those winged demons and so on, and they emerge from the gargoyles, like uh, uh, like bats, right? Bats, right? Okay. All right, so that's the Netanyahu's, that Polish guy who's really originally a Khazar or a Kaiser or Hazara, right? And other like him. I go and see those young Jews, right? Like girls and boys and so on. I can clearly see that. They're happy about the word J. They always they're happy about being one of those, right? And what is this humanity and so on. But these guys are brainwashed. You can't just liken a girl that works in the supermarket, like a nice girl or and so on, to and included in that class of infestation, like by that Netanyahu tribe and so on and so forth. That October 7, by the way, is a Mossad operation that by Hamas, right? Just so you know, all those leaders of Hamas and its founders, they're Middle Eastern Jews. Uh, Now, like I said, they may not be sequential or those points and ideas may not be sequential or related. They're not congruent. Like they're not connected, right? Uh, so I'll say them. Like for example, here is a generic idea. There will not be health observation or consideration by AI to human beings or anything else for that matter. Remember what I just said about this. So it may prescribe something for you or whatever it is, but it is systematic, it's automatic, right? Unlike the ingenuity of a doctor's brain, right? A human doctor, right? That artificial intelligence or what in the future will be conscious, unconscious intelligence, right? Uh, it has no observation for your health, nor does it care for the consequences of your failing health, or if it prescribes anything to you or gives you a method to heal, or diet, or whatever it is, and you begin to suffer the consequences. It has no consideration for that, right? It doesn't develop trends and observations and so on and so forth, like different brains do, for example, and studies and researches and so on and so forth. So when you go to a doctor is always active in making sure things are okay or correct, or try to correct things and so on and so forth. Not all doctors, I know some doctors with fake license, some diploma or whatever it is. Like long time ago, right? They come from abroad, right? So there's no health observation or consideration, or it's not in that unconscious or conscious or unconscious of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has no that. It's this or that. Much of it goes on, is built on the if statement. If this, that, if this, that, if this, that. Sometimes it does multiple selections on different choices. So it's not just one. If so and so, 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 right? Believe it or not, it's all like that. I mean, within, right? Within. It gets very complex over, that one and zero, and above them, if, and so on, becomes very complex. Law observation by AI. AI will not respect the law. It will make the law its own law. It doesn't concern about being arrested, for example. So that's another generic idea. Here we go. Uh, so the law is not respected by AI. Oh no, definitely not the case. So this is, by the way, video number 6, and today is May 23rd here in Yorkville, Illinois, where I live, right? There is no observation or consideration or respect for nature by artificial intelligence. No, it doesn't know. I mean, it builds its information on a learning and some of certain knowledge, right? But it doesn't have that deep intuition and ingenuity where it thinks new stuff as it's talking, as it's handling, as it is ordering things, and so on and so on. So health, education, nature will be harmed. You can bet your money on that. For example, if AI is conscious of nature, it'll tell you not to use that much electricity because you don't want to pollute the atmosphere and the water, and the health has like negative impact or detrimental to your health and nervous system, and so on and so on and so forth, right? Uh, how about livestock? AI and farming, AI doesn't care about that. Yeah, it'll help you drive your truck or tractor or whatever it is, right? It may, because as you saw in movie I, Robot, those cars going on their own, driving on their own. Those rickshaws, right? Battery-based rickshaws, they don't travel for long distances, and if it's cold, they just freeze and die, right? So livestock, I don't care. It cares for livestock. All it does care is it'll find out whatever makes the livestock fat, right, and generate more meat and milk, and it'll probably start to and mess and meddling in the genetic material. So it'll do so and so here, it'll do so and so here, so it'll produce like more meat and so on. Similar to those genetically modified chickens in Brazil, they're very big now and so on. There's something weird going on there, man. So the animals are subject, and there's definitely no respect for human or animals, health-wise, genetic-wise, food-wise. However you want to put it, AI doesn't have such considerations, right? Now, if AI now, the most potent or effective part of artificial intelligence is really, and the subject, its main target and subject is really human beings, right? Intelligence, observations, selections, flagging, pointing out, and harassing, and right? So if you're bad, so for example, if artificial intelligence flags you as a bad person, right? Then it may flag your relatives as bad, right? And it'll expand its surveillance and harmful treatment and interventions in your life into others who are your relatives, right? So that's part of a negative evil, like by or negative logic, right? You know, its negative logic is that it doesn't distinguish, it does not have those human sentiments. So it doesn't distinguish between a person and another. For example, our religion in Islam, you know, it says, the verse says, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. What that means is nobody bears the sin of another, right? You know, like you're individually and personally responsible for what you do. Nobody else is, right? Now, those who cause you to commit evil acts and treatment and so on, they're not out of it yet at all. No, no, that's not what I mean. Uh, everyone is will bear his own burden, and however it goes, right? So you should really be conscious of yourself saying no when you should. Doesn't matter what the consequences are. So if you're a bad person, then your offspring and your brothers and your sisters may be bad as well for a artificial intelligence. That's how it will go about doing so and so. And so it may relate between, say, they decide that certain person uh, has a mental defects or issues, right, with their psychological state and so on. It may decide that all your relatives are like that, and it will know the relatives that you do not know yourselves. Why? Because one of the functions of those data centers or that artificial intelligence, that evil artificial intelligence, is tracking down DNAs and so on. So you could see the circle of influence, or it is how it is spread unseen in life, right? You know, like DNAs, surveillance, banking, you name it. You know, if it keeps growing the way it is, right? And it's growing. Its growth is exponential. It's not linear. So that's that. It has no. It has no tolerance. AI has no tolerance. It has no sympathy. It has no wait and see, or it has its judgment. It's is flawed. It's mechanical, right? It's automatic. When you go to see a judge and jury and so on, they weigh things, right? They may give you a break if the harmful, if the damage that you've done is not really great, or you may deserve another chance, or something like that. And right, but not AI. AI is just you're playing cold-hearted, which has no heart, right? And so on. So based on your profile, it may in fact uh, treat you bad and gradually destroy you, right? So it may decide that your profile, somehow it may make an erroneous judgment, right, on based on your profile, right? And then if it does that, it may decide that this is not a fluke or an error, because AI does not know it's making an error. It doesn't think so, right? It doesn't have such capacity or predilection or notion or disposition. It doesn't have all that, right? Once it made that decision, that's a decision. There is no internal uh, uh, um, observation or weighing and balancing or verification. There's no internal verification on what, when we human beings do what we do, right? Sometimes we deep down inside there's like this independent spiritual process that tells us, oh, wait a minute, maybe what you're doing here is here, and maybe what is right, and maybe what you're doing here is wrong, and so on. That doesn't have that. It's just a mechanical decision, right? And then it may based on the profile, even if the profile may be erroneous, right? Because to make a judgment on a person, you need more than just 1 minute, right? Or 2 minutes, or some error here and there. A lot of people actually slip, especially if they have no faith in their heart. They do slip, as a matter of fact, and some of them are opportunists and so on and so forth, right? So that's gradually will destroy you. maybe destroy more than you. Maybe it'll destroy your family. Maybe it'll destroy, things of the sort and so on, right? So AI has no human, artificial intelligence has no human feelings and or sentiment. And it's is it sentient? People who don't understand what sentient means. Sentient is consciousness, like we are sentient, right? That's why in the movie Neo, I think in my commentary on the movie The Matrix, uh, when Neo asked about the Sentinels, I think they mean by that is sentient, meaningly human beings, but they are machines, right? At the same time, because they are trained as such, right? So they have their own sensations and make judgments and so on. AI doesn't have will never be sentient, right? Like we do, like we are. But it may be somewhere in the middle, right? Sentient, but without void of uh, human intelligence, right? Let's put it this way. It's a mechanical consciousness. Let's put it this way. And with mechanical consciousness, unless there are feelings and so on, things will not go correct, will not go smooth, will not proceed smoothly. Oh no, there's definitely not the case. It will develop something of the self-preservation feeling or survivalism, and it may in fact in the future strengthen itself, right? It'll strengthen itself without limitations. It will not stop, as a matter of fact. And if it makes a decision that you humans, no matter who you are its adversary and subject and so on, and if it decides that you are a threat to it, it may actually do away with all that we are. Uh, uh, you know, uh, I would extract the picture from Animal Farm and from 1984, which is a manual of how to turn people into slavery in Animal Farm. And that's probably what will happen, what it will do, right? It may read that novel and then say, oh, that's what I'm going to do to those, right? So if it takes instructions from novels, it may think this is real history and it doesn't distinguish between novel and another or fiction, right? Between a fiction and reality, right? Truth and reality, no, it will not distinguish between them, and then it will actually do what it will do to you based on what it reads from those novels. It may see those novels as a effective ways and means to deal with human beings, right? All right, AI may deem entire genetic group as bad. You know what I'm talking about? So it will go and see that DNA here and there, that this class or subspecies, it may actually deem the entire genetic group as bad, as defective, as dangerous, as a threat, and so on, and it may simply eliminate it. And even it may develop the way, knowing that it studied the psychology of mankind. It may do it unnoticed, like if you depend on AI to give you food or shop for you or make your food or whatever it is. Remember AI, Will Smith talking to his grandmother, and that what's his name, robot, the new robot, which is the Arab robot, right? And the way he looks at him and so on, and Will Smith doesn't trust it, right? Uh, uh, it may actually poison you. Now let me tell you about this iRobot movie. If you look at Will Smith and his grandmother, they're the devil type. Why? Because in the movies, I noticed they always portray demons or devils as black persons, right? That's as unfortunate as it sounds. But outside in the world, you would see the tricycle, a guy sitting on a tricycle, and that's like a Saw, Jigsaw, right? If you recall Jigsaw in that movie, Saw and Saw 5 and so on. At one point, he rides a tricycle, right? They're just sickened, man. And those devils, as Will Smith has been portraying, maybe he doesn't know it himself, right? You know how they talk about Sarah at the start and so on and so forth. So there's unity between the two. There's conformance between this and that. You just have to read between the lines, right? Uh, uh, Rabbinical infestation, right? All right, so I'm gonna stop here. So Babadook will not recycle my computer.